The Rwandan-backed M23 rebel group says that it will withdraw from Uvira in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. The fighters seized that city last week. The group says that it wants to demonstrate good faith in the ongoing peace process after an appeal from American mediators. M23 launched a new offensive earlier this month, despite efforts by Qatar and the U.S. to end the conflict. Let's take a closer look at the front lines in eastern DRC. M23 controls all major urban hubs in that region, as well as the border crossing with Burundi. It seized Bukavu, the provincial capital of South Kivu province, in February. A month earlier, it had captured Goma, the capital of North Kivu. The fighters have also been pushing further south along Lake Tanganyika. And as we mentioned, they took control of the border city of Uvira just a few days ago. Speak to Alain Uaykani, who's live for us there in Uvira. So, Alain, M23 say that they're withdrawing. What are you actually seeing on the ground?
Well, nothing up to now. We have seen since this morning just a normal movement of M23 fighters across the town here. We have to mention that the number deployed by M23 in this area was massive. Since we have been in this town here, we have seen them every minute, every moment. You can see the jeep of soldiers, those who are moving by foot. Even this morning, this is the usual movement you have seen here. Nothing has changed up to now. Even from the population, we have been trying to talk to some of them. Others are not even yet informed, and others are just getting the news from the social media. But in reality, on the ground here, nothing so far. But if you have to come on this, the M23, they released this communique just late in the middle of the night, and people, if you try to read right now in different social media here, people are commenting on this, but they know it's all about the pressure, but the reality is there. We have to talk about this reality. M23 is saying very clearly that this is not going to be the handover with the DRC government, because the conflict has been going also between what the fighters are calling defending and protecting their people. That is even the main reason why they say they arrive here in the town of Uvira here, because this area was one of the last strongholds from the DRC government with different allies. We have seen, for example, Burundi, and they are just behind the border here, deploying a massive position here, and also the headquarters generals were here coordinating the fighting against the M23, trying to stop their move. But this was not possible. The M23 ended by taking over this town. This is why the fighters are saying it will not be the handover, because they have seen the previous experience with Walikale, where they hand over the area. Normally the neutral force supposed to be there, but that was not the case. The government ended by taking over the Walikale again. And here M23 is very clear, neutral force has to come. But if we have to talk about that neutral force, we don't know from where it will come. And this is showing it will be a long process, because the majority of the African countries also were part of this conflict. If you have, for example, to take part of SADC, they were defeated by the M23 in Goma alongside the government, and also other forces, the ASC forces, were chased by the DRC government here. So if the mediator will have to find who will be this neutral force, it is going to be a long process, which now people are trying to talk about here in the region.
Alain Uaykani reporting from Uvira. Thank you very much, Alain. Let's bring in Paul Simon Handy from the Institute for Security Studies. You're their regional director for East Africa. You're also the Institute's representative to the African Union, and you're in the Ethiopian capital, Addis Ababa. Thanks for joining us. How do you read this M23's announcement? You know, they just a few days ago, they took Uvira, and now they're saying we're pulling back essentially to give peace a chance, or to give the peace process a chance.
Well, thanks for having me first. And when I hear this statement by the M23, I'm wondering why take the city of Uvira in the first place to say they want to give peace a chance. Wanting to give peace a chance would have meant not taking over Uvira after the signing of the Washington and the Doha agreements. Taking over and now saying we are withdrawing is a tactic we've seen somewhere else by the M23, taking over territories, appearing to withdraw, to take them again. This, in my view, is a negotiating tactics by the M23, wanting to create facts and pushing the government of the DRC to make more territorial and economic concessions.
What is their end goal then?
It is a bit difficult to say because they are not openly and officially announcing what their end goal is. Sorry. When you look at the map and when you look at the history of this conflict, because I mean the M23 is just the modern iteration of a number of rebel groups in that part of the DRC that have made similar grievances and taken over even up to Kinshasa. We will remember that the seizure of Kinshasa by Kabila, the father, was also the outcome after the genocide in Rwanda. It was the outcome of this same campaign. They say officially that they want to liberate their people, which is a bit of a strange rhetoric. But when you look at the map, what I think the M23 and the AFC alliance are doing, they are trying to create some sort of a buffer zone, which the neighboring countries, particularly Rwanda, but also Uganda, have an interest in controlling. So when you look at the geography of North Kivu and South Kivu and the positions of the M23 AFC alliance, the buffer zone rhetoric, two provinces that they will be able to influence, but also to take advantage of in terms of economic return, in which movements of population will also change the demography of the Eastern DRC, seem to be the end goal.
Yeah, Paul Simon, we put up the map as you were describing this, and we do see what you're describing in the sense that they now have a belt of territory that is just along the border with Rwanda that you say could be ultimately a buffer zone. Perhaps that's their goal between Rwanda and DRC. If that is the case, and if that is their end goal, to ultimately control this piece of land next to Rwanda, what purpose do the peace deals serve? There are two. The one between DRC and Rwanda, and then the agreement that was signed recently between DRC and M23.
First of all, the buffer zone is not just between the DRC and Rwanda. The buffer zone, as you will see, also goes the North Kivu, the Ituri province that borders Uganda, and now the seizure of Uvira means literally extending the buffer zone in the whole South Kivu province, which and even the capital of Uvira. It's just next door to Bujumbura, the capital of Burundi. I struggle to see why the M23, the AFC, and Rwanda will actually, what they will gain in literally aggrieving the U.S. Government, because that's the direct outcome of this military offensive, and I'm quite sure that the announcement by the M23 to move out of Uvira is probably also a direct consequence of the reaction, the very strong reaction that the U.S. government showed both in the UN Security Council in some public statements. So I struggle to see the strategic objective they are trying to gain by aggrieving the main backer of the peace agreements. It should the seizure of Uvira remain. It will be a blow for the U.S., for the U.S. president. It will be a blow for current negotiations in Qatar and in the U.S., but it will put enormous pressure also both to President Tshisekedi internally, but also internationally to President Kagame.
Paul Simon Handy, thank you very much for joining us on Al Jazeera.
My pleasure.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news, expert insight. Like, share, stay ahead.